Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the North Lincolnshire series, a district of 56 parishes in the north of Lincolnshire. Let's see which one we're visiting today. Alright there folks, welcome back to North Lincolnshire once again. And today we find ourselves in a very small town just to the south of the M180. Literally the M180 is just there. There's a roundabout just where I'm pointing, so it's very close to the M180, and it's downhill from here, which means it's going to be uphill on the way back, but I can manage it. It's only the Lincolnshire Wolds. Welcome to Barnetby le Wold. This North Lincolnshire episode is sponsored by Past Days, a family history blog by June Terrington. You'll find her link in the description. And this video is also sponsored by Jamie's Fitness Studio, based on Low Road, Graham, near Curtin in Lindsay. Jamie is one busy lady. Check her out by calling 07906 749 574 or emailing hello@jamies.co.uk. Online membership is available. There's a link to her Facebook page in the description. Jamie's Fitness Studio. Get fit, get happy, get healthy. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Barnetby le Wold is a village, not a town as I originally thought in the intro, located between Brigg and Immingham in North Lincolnshire. Despite not being an official town, it is its own post town, much like Ulsby. The village appeared in the Domesday Book, where it was called Bernodebi, a name which is derived from the Scandinavian name Beornnoth. It's been settled since at least Roman times and saw major expansion in the 19th century with the coming of the railways. For many years, the railways were the major employer in the village. Because this part of Lincolnshire has several steep inclines, many freight trains passing through Barnetby required extra locomotives in order to cope with the gradients. For this purpose, a locomotive depot was built at nearby Wrawby junction, which falls within Barnetby's boundaries. The remains of its turntable pit are now all that's left of it. Barnetby features two churches, one which is active, the other redundant, but both have stories to tell. It's also littered in a good way with other fascinating old buildings and folklore tales. The village has a selection of shops, one pub, and a well-regarded primary school. There's also many thriving community groups which together make it a popular village to live in. It's another brilliant North Lincolnshire village on the Lincolnshire Wolds. Let's go. Our route begins on King's Road, a gentle sloping street down into the village centre. Here's where you can catch a bus. Barnetby is served by the number 4 bus, which runs between Scunthorpe and Kirmington. The village has a few shops. Here's one of them, also on King's Road, which doubles as the post office. There's no dedicated post office in the village anymore, but I do know where it used to be. That's coming later. Running over King's Road is a bridge which carries the local railway line. The railways were integral to Barnetby's development. Most rail traffic through here was initially freight, involved with the steelworks at Scunthorpe. Barnetby does though have a station as well, and next to it is the place's one and only pub. Formerly known as the Station Hotel, it's now been renamed to the Whistle and Flute after some redevelopment took place to include accommodation and a music studio. We'll get a look at the railway station in a moment, but first check this building out. Barnetby Silver Band. I wonder what that's all about. The Barnetby Silver Band is the longest existing band in the area. It teaches local youngsters how to play brass instruments in a junior band, and eventually they progress to the senior band. All are welcome regardless of age or ability. Just before we go into the station, here's the Whistle and Flute. Barnetby used to have another pub until 2018, which was called the Railway Inn, and it was located on King's Road. It's now been demolished and the site was used for new housing. Here's Barnetby Station, which is sited just to the east of Wrawby Junction, the scene of not just one but two notable rail crashes. In 1898, a passenger train collided with a derailed goods train, killing 8 people and injuring 26 more. The second, in 1983, resulted in 1 fatality. Trains from Barnetby can get you as far away as Leicester to the south and Manchester to the west. Overlooking the station is Stothard House, Network Rail's area headquarters. It's one of these stations where the platforms are like islands in the middle of the lines. So I've obviously had to come across this bridge to get to, well, that bridge actually, to get to this platform. And then there's another bridge to cross over that side to those platforms. Annoyingly, there's no bridge that connects those platforms to the road, which is, you know, it's not very good, that, because that's effectively where I'm going. So I've got to go back over the bridge again and round. Just thought I'd show you the signal box there in the distance too while I was here. After heading back and going under the railway bridge, we're at Barnetby's Lincolnshire Co-op. This is new. It recently replaced the derelict Deborah scaffolding, which stood empty for a while previously, adding 14 new jobs to the area. Next, we turn on to Silver Street, which is a row of terraced houses that ends at the playing field. This features the village hall, which can be seen in the background. In today's picture bit, I'll show you something brilliant which you can see inside the village hall. The playing field is also where the local football team are based. Known as the Railwaymen for obvious reasons, Barnetby United Football Club were founded in 1936. They're currently members of the Scunthorpe and District Saturday and Sunday leagues. Running alongside the playing field is a public footpath, which you can use to access St Barnabas Road. This treats you to a good view. Unfortunately for me on this morning, it meant wading through this mini flood. I didn't know I was going to be going paddling today. This is quite deep, this, I'll be honest with you, but if I can get to the other side, then all good. Oh, I don't want to deviate from my route too much because this is quite a complicated route. It wasn't long before I was to find the cause of the mini flood, this pipe. I won't complain too much about it, but yes, I did get my feet wet. Thankfully, they dried off by the time I reached the end. Fun and games, eh? Now let's explore West Street, which would have been here before the railways came along in the 1800s. When they did, most of Barnetby's growth was in its more northern areas. You can tell by the rows of Victorian terraces. West Street has one of Barnetby's old chapels on it. This was the Wesleyan Methodist Chapel, and it was founded in 1879. Barnetby also had a primitive chapel on St Barnabas Road, which dated to 1855. That has now been demolished. Next is South Street, and this features a couple of the village's Grade 2 listed buildings. Manor Farmhouse, just out of shot to the right, is one of them. So too is number 17. In all, there are 7 listed structures in Barnetby. Now, a couple of people have mentioned to me before about parking issues here in Barnetby le Wold and how it's becoming a bit of a nightmare. And this, I suppose, doesn't help. You can't park on grass verges here. It's a bylaw under section 235 of the Local Government Act 1972. So if you come down here, don't stick your car on here. A right turn out of South Street will take you up Church Hill, where we find this building, the old vicarage. This is next to the Church of St Mary, which overlooks Barnetby from high upon that hill, and it's not an easy climb. St Mary's Church is originally of Saxon origin. The church dates from the 11th century, and some of the remaining fabric in the south wall of the nave is Anglo-Saxon. The tower was built in either the 11th or the 12th century. Its tower arch, its north arcade, and its chancel date from the 13th century. It once possessed a Norman lead font, one of only 30 in England and the only one in Lincolnshire. Its oldest bell was cast in 1578, and the other two were made in around 1599. In 1927, the congregation stopped meeting in St Mary's and began using St Barnabas Church instead, which is further around our route. St Mary's fell into disuse and was declared redundant in 1972. And now the fun begins, because walking away from the church, I've got to walk back down this hill. It's not called Church Hill for nothing, that road out there. This is a very, very steep hill that I've just walked up to get to this, and the path is covered with leaves, so I'm having to be careful not to slip over into the mud or whatever. Once down off the hill, we find ourselves ambling more gently along Queen's Road. This is its junction with Old Post Office Lane. No need to spell out what used to be down there, but that's where we're going. The end of the lane runs into this field, which looks decidedly earthworky in nature. However, historic England, my usual go-to place for things like that, doesn't show me anything of note here, which was surprising. Now we're on St Barnabas Road, and here's the village's primary school, aptly named St Barnabas Primary School. Secondary school education is provided by the nearby towns of Brigg and Caister, generally speaking. The current school is right next to the village's old public elementary school. This was a national school in 1862, and an infant school was added in 1876, followed by a girls' school in 1877. The buildings could house 300 students. So at this point where the church is, you've got a roundabout where Victoria Road meets St Barnabas Road. If you head that way, it takes you down to the likes of South Street and West Street, places we've already seen. This way is a dead end, and it's a dead end all ways up, because this road that you can see right now is a dead end, and there's a left turn off it as well, which is an area of, shall we say, newer build housing, which is also unfortunately a dead end. There's a lot of houses up there, and I would have liked to have been able to get through that estate and come back to Victoria Road, you know, with a footpath or something, but as far as I can tell, there isn't one. There's no footpath which will link you from there, I don't think, to there. So all that area is going to have to be omitted, I'm afraid. But it's mainly just housing anyway, so I don't think there's anything majorly exciting up there. So to finish with, we're heading back towards the train station again, down Victoria Road, and then we'll pick up the car at Hillside Crescent. This then is Barnetby's main religious building these days. Despite being called Barnetby's new church by many, St Barnabas was completed in 1927 and is of brick construction. St Barnabas Church has Holy Communion services on the 1st, 3rd and 4th Sundays of the month at 11 AM. It's also the location of the village's community cafe. This is open every Tuesday from 9 AM until 12 PM, as the board here tells us. I would have gone in, but I was running a bit behind on time. A couple more paces and we're at the surgery. This is open from 8 AM until 6:30 PM on weekdays only. The village's defib machine can be found here as well. You might just be able to make out a hair salon in the background here as well. This building is Holcombe Guest House. Despite being located in Lincolnshire, it gets its name from Holcombe Hill near Bury. It bills itself as being a good place for travellers using Humberside Airport to stay, and it holds a Visit England's Silver Award. Over the road we come to the parish notice board, which features the village crest, a simple shield which features St Mary's Church, a railway locomotive and the City of Lincoln cross, complete with the Lincolnshire fleur-de-lis. I had to get this in. Barnetby wins the award for the best named chippy I've ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Assault and Battery. It's just a bit unfortunate that at the moment it's closed due to the owner's ill health. Never mind though, whilst it's shut, you still do have food options, like for example this sandwich shop, the Ginger Beard Catering Company, which is virtually next door. In all, Barnetby doesn't do bad for itself, does it? Alright, did someone say picture bit? I think they did, you know. here we are back at Hillside Crescent, and that's taken me about an hour and a half, just over, to walk around Barnetby le Wold. And yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed that one. I know I did. My feet got wet a little bit and they've dried out a bit now, so hopefully I won't be squelching my way around the next village. Speaking of the next village, it's not too far away. All I have to do is turn right out of Hillside Crescent up to the roundabout which I showed you at the start, turn left, and it's pretty much just there. And I'll see you there next week. I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot. This has been the parish of Barnetby le Wold, and I'm out.